Listen, we've got to talk about Manchester United, James, because for me, the win over Villarreal in the Champions League in midweek and that 96th minute winner from Cristiano Ronaldo. It was Fergie time back at Old Trafford. The fans were in. Fantastic moment. Ronaldo back. You know, the fans were in the stadium afterwards singing Viva Ronaldo. You can understand the positivity around Manchester United after that. But I think there needs to be some cold, hard facts when it comes to exactly how they played, because they got away with one big time, big time. There's something going wrong for Manchester United, of course, beating against Aston Villa in the Premier League last weekend as well. You know, all these glamour names, all these great signings, they are just not at the moment producing the goods. And they look like they're going to be just a level below the other three teams in the race for the Premier League title. What is going wrong right now?
Well, we had a little chat, didn't we, on Twitter in the week? I agree with you. The performance against Villarreal was really poor for me. If Villarreal are better on the counter-attack, Danjuma got in several times. They had several chances in that first half. But the thing that we were talking about, and the thing that seemed very glaring to me, was the fact that Scott McTominay played as that single pivot in that midfield, and they didn't want to pass the ball to him. But I mean, we kind of disagreed on this. It was a bit of a mix, wasn't it? It was the fact that the back four didn't want to pass the ball to him. And then also Scott McTominay was kind of hiding a lot of the time, didn't really want to get on the ball himself, which is, I guess, understandable, but also disappointing for someone who really has a possibility to kind of make that position his marker if it works. And that's the big thing here with Man United, is that they are winning games. They are kind of getting away with it at times. And that's due to the brilliance of Ronaldo. But in terms of it working, it doesn't look like it's working right now. And, you know, like I said, they were able to be bypassed quite a lot, and it allows the opposition to get in. And you feel like that kind of that run of luck, for want of a better word, can't continue if there isn't that control from that central midfielder, if you're going to play just one there. So the question I've probably got to ask you here, Hugh, is that can you play one single pivot with Ronaldo in the team? Because he is a lightning rod, but he's also someone who, and I think we all saw the clip, Ronaldo going, oh, why haven't you passed it to my feet? And then Edison Cavani comes from nowhere and starts to press and harry and get the ball. Very, very different forward players, which is going to lead your team to have to play differently as well. What is the best setup and best style for a Man United team that will have to play Ronaldo most weeks?
Listen, they could play with a single pivot, one holding midfielder, if they were Manchester City.
But they don't have a player who's good enough, do they?
If Pep Guardiola was the manager. No, even if they didn't necessarily have a player good enough, you'd have to say the other 10 positions on the pitch, you know, if they could monopolise possession, it might hide the fact that they don't have an elite holding midfielder. At the moment, they don't keep possession well enough to be able to hide that. There are too many counterattacks, too many breaks against their team, too often giving possession away, which means that player is isolated in holding midfield. We've seen it in previous games when Fred was playing holding midfield. We saw it this time around when Scott McTominay was in holding midfield on their own. Listen, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said in pre-season he wants to change the way Manchester United play, he wants to play a 4-3-3 with one holding midfielder, Manchester United fans were eagerly checking the headlines to see which holding midfielder they were going to sign, because they knew they didn't have one in the squad who was going to be good enough, and they still don't. This is on the manager. You've got to understand, you've got to work with what you've got at hand. You know, there are some elite holding midfielders in European football. None of them are in Manchester United squad.
The other big question would be, with Bruno missing that penalty last week, who's on penalties now? We've dealt with the fact that Bruno was going to keep them. I've got the stats on both of them. In terms of penalties, club penalties, Bruno has taken 43. He scored 39. His success rate is 90%. Ronaldo has taken over 3 times more, 147. He scored 125. His success rate is 85%. With Bruno missing that penalty, is it now Ronaldo's? You know, it really does always feel like it's all about Ronaldo. Why don't you just let that be and let him take the penalties as well?
He's the kind of person that you need to keep happy, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, that's been clear at all of the clubs that he's played for. He's happiest when he's on the score sheet, and he feels like, with all due respect, you know, that forward attack revolves around him. He needs those goals. He wants to be there highest in the charts. He's going to want to take penalties. And it's up to Manchester United whether they say, do you know what, he's getting a little bit frustrated with the way that we're passing him the ball and the attack's a little bit disjointed. If we get a penalty, let him take it. Maybe he'll be a bit happier. Maybe we'll all be a bit happier and a bit more comfortable when he's smiling. And maybe that will help us in the long term. I think that's going to be the main decision. I would stick with Bruno Fernandes, and I would beg him to go back to the little stutter run, because every time he just hits it, it's never as much control. you know, it always feels like he's going to miss it. The only times he has missed, I think he hasn't done the stutter run. So keep the stutter run, you know, bring it back, Bruno Fernandes. That's what's got you to taking penalties for Manchester United. Probably what's got you a move to Manchester United. So, you know, I think you've got to stick with him. But, you know, it wouldn't be a surprise to me if Ronaldo took over from him. I think the pressure of a fellow Portuguese great, the greatest ever, just behind him, put him off. It's a
problem.
To be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It get into his head a little bit.
I think it's a problem everywhere around the pitch there as well. I mean, I say problem, but there's two sides to it, isn't it? The other side is that Ronaldo steps up. Ronaldo is one of the greatest. So kind of, I think then there's always going to be this tension now with so many world-class players at Man United and Ronaldo on top of it. There's tension between it being about Ronaldo, but it will always have to be about Ronaldo. And so I just think it is something that you kind of have to embrace and maybe grit your teeth with at times as well. With this game, it's a 12:30 game, obviously against Everton at Old Trafford. Man United have only lost one of the last 12 meetings. Quick word on Everton and how you see this game panning out then, Hugh.
Well, listen, Everton have the blueprint from watching the last couple of Manchester United games at home as to how to get joy, to be perfectly honest. Defend deep, see if you can get them on the counter-attack. You just need quality on the break. The good news for them is Demarai Gray's been very good this season. So has Andros Townsend. They have midfielders that can break as well. Abdoulaye Doucouré, very good. Alan, great at winning the ball back. The big miss will be, I think, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Salomon Rondon isn't an exact replacement of both at different spectrums in terms of different ends of their career. You're not going to get that electric, dynamic pace on the break from Salomon Rondon. However, set pieces, as we saw against Aston Villa, could be massive when it comes to him and the big defenders they've got at Everton as well. So it's key that they don't concede any sloppy goals, give anything away, because I still think there is this buoyancy at Old Trafford for Manchester United in terms of the fans. And I think if they get a goal ahead, one will become two very quickly, and then it could be a very long afternoon. They want to stay in the game until the second half, see if they can nick a goal and control it from there. But you wouldn't say Everton, again, you know, it's as great as Manchester United are, you've got to give Everton a chance of getting at least a point at Old Trafford, the way that they've played at home so far this season. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I can see them sticking the place out, to be honest. I think without DCL, you know, Richarlison as well, Everton have to be kind of careful in how they attack. And this is actually kind of a perfect game for them. They can sit deep, play on the counter-attack with the likes of Townsend and Demarai Gray, as you're saying, and see if they can sort of sneak themselves a goal. And I think with the problems that Man United have had in terms of breaking teams down, it's a game for Alan as well. Doucouré has been scoring a few goals for Everton as well. I saw them a couple of weeks ago at Loftus Road, and they were poor in that game. But I think against a team that is going to really dominate them, they just need to be well drilled and well organised. And that's what Benitez has done brilliantly so far with a squad that is worse than the squad that they had last season. So, and in terms of personnel who've been available. So I think it's interesting. I think Man United might just scrape it, maybe at 2-1. But I think it's going to be a very, very difficult afternoon for Man United. Hi guys, James Allcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.